Luftwaffe bomber crews believed the British would never field a high-performance combat aircraft made almost entirely of wood. They were wrong. By October 1942, 62 de Havilland Mosquitoes were operational, and their plywood construction proved no hindrance to speed or firepower. The German assumption, rooted in aircraft performance tables and intelligence briefings, was that all-metal fighters would always dominate the skies over Europe. The reality was strikingly different. The Mosquito's arrival led to the loss of 14 Heinkel He 111s over Cologne in a single week, exposing the vulnerability of Luftwaffe bomber wings. The de Havilland Mosquito DH.98, introduced with twin Rolls-Royce Merlin Mk-XX engines each rated at 1460 horsepower, reached speeds up to 400 mph, making it up to 60 miles per hour faster than the Messerschmitt Bf 109F sent to intercept it. Its plywood structure, once mocked as a wooden folly, allowed rapid manufacturing and absorbed radar signals, reducing detectability. Kampfgeschwader 4 and Kampfgeschwader 27, each with over 70 He 111 bombers, reported increasing losses as Mosquito squadrons achieved a 4:1 kill ratio during interception sorties. Night attacks became increasingly costly for the Luftwaffe as the Mosquito bypassed ground-based flak defenses. The unexpected factor was the Mosquito's operational versatility, equally effective as a fast bomber, night fighter, and reconnaissance plane. Early raids led by Squadron Leader John Cunningham of No. 85 Squadron RAF caught German crews off guard at altitudes and speeds previously unseen. The British had developed an aircraft that fundamentally disrupted Luftwaffe tactical planning. This is the account of how the Mosquito's combat debut defied expectations and changed the air war above occupied Europe. October 20, 1942, 22:15 hours. Squadron Leader John Cunningham of No. 85 Squadron RAF coordinated a night interception mission over Cologne, Germany, supported by 6 de Havilland Mosquitoes. Cunningham's objective was to intercept and destroy Heinkel He 111 bombers belonging to Kampfgeschwader 4, which routinely targeted British industrial cities. His squadron's composition included 6 Mosquito DH.98s, each equipped with 4 Hispano Mki-20 cannons and 4 303 Browning machine guns, as well as onboard AI Mk-IV radar systems. On the opposing side, Oberstleutnant Rudolf Koch, commander of Kampfgeschwader 4, directed 11 Heinkel He 111s on a raid originating from Brussels-Melsbroek airfield. These bombers were protected by 8 Messerschmitt Bf 110 night fighters, outfitted with 20 MG FFM cannons and rear-facing MG-17 machine guns. The defensive setup included searchlight units positioned at intervals along the Rhine and 88 flak batteries, with an effective ceiling of 26,000 feet encircling Cologne. The Luftwaffe expected a low probability of RAF interception due to poor local radar coverage and the anticipated limitations of wood-constructed aircraft. Briefings referenced previous Mosquito sightings but played down their operational impact. Intelligence reports estimated Mosquito speeds at 350 mph, suggesting KG-4's Bf 110 escorts could protect the bomber stream under most circumstances. However, actual measured speeds exceeded previous data by up to 50 mph, and the AI Mk-IV radar gave Mosquito's night interception capability. RAF signals intelligence, drawn from ultra-decrypts on October 18, indicated a planned KG-4 strike between 22:15 and 23:30 hours. This intel underestimated Luftwaffe night fighter strength and did not anticipate the adaptation of German flak battery firing patterns. Meteorological reports for the night recorded cloud cover at 9/10 ths, a visibility range of 3,200 meters, and surface winds at 8 knots from the west. These conditions complicated ground-based detection and improved the Mosquito's tactical approach vectors. What happened in the next 3 hours would determine the effectiveness of the RAF's new interception doctrine and the survivability of the He 111 bomber fleet. At 22:15 hours, No. 85 Squadron's Mosquitoes climbed to 18,000 feet over the Rhine Valley using onboard AI Mk-IV radar. 6 aircraft under Squadron Leader John Cunningham deployed in pairs, each equipped with 4 20 Hispano cannons and carrying external fuel tanks with 200-gallon capacity. The air temperature measured -5 degrees Celsius. Visibility at altitude was 4,000 meters. Oberleutnant Karl Pohl of KG-4 had positioned his He 111 flight at 17,200 feet, following predetermined waypoints south of Cologne. Accompanying Bf 110 crews, armed with twin MG 150-120 cannons, rate of fire, 750 rounds minute, and Fuji 202 Liechtenstein radar were assigned to rear guard. By 22:25 hours, two He-111s were hit by 20 rounds, resulting in 12 crew casualties and splitting the Nazi bomber formation. Meanwhile, at RAF Uxbridge, Flight Lieutenant Anne Mackenzie monitored intercepted communications. At 22:40 hours, she decrypted a Luftwaffe broadcast revealing KG-4's intent to divert north, attempting to evade pursuit. This allowed Cunningham to redirect his flight for a parallel intercept. At 22:45 hours, German radio operator Feldwebel Helmut Krauss at Flachstellung West reported rapid-moving contacts. He was unaware of the Mosquito's actual speed and radar-guided movement. Surface winds increased to 10 knots, reducing Bf 110 maneuver performance. At 22:50 hours, Mosquitoes engaged at 1,200 meters, opening fire with all 8 guns. Cunningham ordered a break-off at 22:53 hours following 3 bomber kills. By 2300 hours, KG-4 had lost a total of 4 He-111s to Mosquito action. At 23:03 hours, Flight Sergeant William H. Reeves of No. 85 Squadron RAF, manning Mosquito DZ-415, detected an unexpected radar anomaly using AI-MKIV equipment over the northern outskirts of Cologne. The scope returned repeated strong echoes at a 35-degree azimuth, indicating clustered metallic objects at 16,900 feet. Reeves immediately recorded 4 concentrated contacts moving perpendicular to the main He-111 stream. His data log notes that signal return strength was at 50% higher intensity than typical for single aircraft, confirming a tightly packed defensive screen. Within 3 minutes, he relayed his findings via VHF to Squadron Leader Cunningham, who updated all airborne crews. Reeves's detection held tactical significance. Standard Luftwaffe bomber formations, according to Allied intelligence, dispersed with 0.8 km spacing, but this sweep revealed a density of 0.4 km between contacts. The AI-MKIV radar's differential signal resolution identified an increase in group density, suggesting a possible defensive maneuver or confusion. Back at RAF Uxbridge, Flight Lieutenant Anne Mackenzie received Reeves's coded message at 23:05 hours and notified the filter room. This adjustment, arriving 6 minutes ahead of predicted Luftwaffe pathing, triggered an immediate review of air defense priorities. Squadron Leader Cunningham recognized this cluster as a potential weak point. The AI-MKIV's fidelity allowed crews to distinguish between bombers, escorts, and decoys. Cunningham ordered Flight Lieutenant Douglas Archer and his section to shift east by 5 kilometers and engage the densest radar reflections. Within 7 minutes, Archer's trio of Mosquitoes repositioned, increasing the sector's interception density from 0.9 to 1.8 aircraft per square kilometer. No. 85 Squadron initiated fire at 23:12 hours, resulting in the destruction of 2 He-111s and 1 Bf-110 in 12 minutes. RAF records show 876 20 rounds fired during this engagement. Meanwhile, Unteroffizier Gustav Klein, navigator in a KG-4 He-111, reported erratic reactions among the bomber crews when the Mosquitoes attacked from an unexpected axis. Klein's after-action log describes failed attempts at coordinated defensive fire as Bf-110 escorts struggled to identify targets with Fuji 202 radar, whose maximum range of 3,500 meters was hampered by ground clutter. KG-4's radio frequencies crackled with incomplete orders as jamming and overlapping commands disrupted communication. By 23:15 hours, the significance of this radar-driven intercept became evident across 5 Mosquito crews southeast of Cologne and 2 additional bombers in the adjacent KG-27 formation. KG-4's defensive coordination faltered as command posts lost radio contact with 6 aircraft, forcing remaining bombers to scatter. Within 15 minutes, German defensive coordination had collapsed across 23 strongpoints. The Havilland Mosquito DH-98 was engineered around a balsa and birch plywood monocoque design, intended to reduce reliance on strategic metals. Its twin Rolls-Royce Merlin 21 engines, each rated at 1460 HP, provided a service ceiling of 34,000 feet and a maximum continuous speed of 392 mph under operational loads. The key technical innovation, the AI-MKIV airborne interception radar, featured a transmitter power output of 155 kW and detection capabilities up to 4,000 meters at night. However, atmospheric scatter on October 20, measured at 11 dB/km, attenuated some radar returns. The Mosquito's non-metallic skin absorbed some radar reflections, confounding early German Liechtenstein BC equipment, which had peak output of only 1.2 kW and suffered significant ground clutter when operating below 20,000 feet. Performance trials at Boskum Down in 1942 had not fully simulated dense bomber stream interception or deep flak zone penetrations. Dramatic discrepancies also arose from fuel tank positioning, causing minor center of gravity shifts at high bank angles, and from the AI-MK-IV Centena cone angle 70 degrees versus the Fuji 202's narrower 40-degree cone. The tactical choice to mass Mosquitoes on a single intercept axis, made by Group Captain Huey Edwards at Fighter Command HQ at 2040 hours on the night of October 20, was based on twin sources. The ultra-decrypt of KG-4's orders, CX MSST 21318, identifying the Cologne approach, and a weather forecast anticipating cloud breaks at 18,000 feet. The intelligence file, Air 401172, dated October 18, underestimated both German night fighter patrol density and flak barrage responsiveness. At the Battle of the Blackwater, July 1942, dispersed RAF intercepts had only achieved a 1-to-1 kill ratio. The new concentrated approach produced a 3-7-1 ratio in Cologne. RAF doctrine, as per AP 3236, specified sequential interception, but local radar clarity enabled simultaneous multi-section attack, overriding standard procedure. Captured KG-4 after action reports revealed mass confusion. Oberstleutnant Koch's 2310 hours dispatch referenced unexpectedly dense and rapid attacks from multiple vectors. Escorts unable to differentiate enemy on radar. Interrogation of Unteroffizier Klein in November 1942 corroborated command disruptions due to radio overlap and jamming. TNA document Air 5030-456 notes that KG-4's bomber stream lost 54% formation integrity in under 20 minutes, compared to just 12% in similar July sorties. This 42% increase in disarray resulted directly from synchronized Mosquito and radar tactics, as detailed in the post-battle briefings held at RAF Uxbridge and cited in Air 143008. Number 85 Squadron, under Squadron Leader John Cunningham, initiated a renewed attack run at 2316 hours using 3 Mosquitoes rerouted to intercept bombers splintered by initial radar-guided assaults. Within 17 minutes, the engagement's efficiency improved sharply. Confirmed bomber losses increased from 4 to 7, and Mosquito crews reported 0 casualties. 11 Luftwaffe aircrew from KG-4 became prisoners of war after forced landings west of the target zone, when their aircraft sustained engine and hydraulic damage. This immediate momentum allowed RAF night fighters to pursue remnants through the heavily defended Cologne flak ring, an action previously deemed infeasible. Mosquitoes from No. 264 Squadron diverted from reserve at Tangmere, redeploying 2 aircraft from a coastal patrol assignment to reinforce the intercept sector. Group Captain Huey Edwards at RAF Fighter Command HQ received action reports by 2345 hours. He ordered the rapid redeployment of 2 additional squadrons, impacting 84 personnel and 43 aircraft over the Cologne-Dusseldorf sector. The altered plan dropped sequential intercepts in favor of continuous sector-wide coverage, requiring recalibration of AI-MK-IV radar sets for increased range overlap, a technical adjustment achieved by 7 ground crews in under 45 minutes. Wing Commander Jeffrey Parnall, updating the operational grid, shifted 3 gunnery support flights to provide suppression fire, recognizing the new window of opportunity created by Luftwaffe communications breakdown. Radio Directive OI-34 was issued at 2350 hours, instructing all Mosquito sections to prioritize lone bombers attempting withdrawal to the east. By 100 hours, confirmed enemy bomber losses reached 9 aircraft, 3 above original estimates. The Cologne raid's timeline was shortened by 22 minutes as KG-4 bombers aborted their run. Allied casualty rates dropped from 5% projected to just 1-2% actual, representing a 76% reduction directly attributed to the radar-enabled tactical shift. The broader impact included advancing Operation Hydra's preparation by 48 hours. Post-war RAF analysis credited these events with saving at least 32 Allied airmen and accelerating air superiority in the region by 2 critical days. The full implications of this tactical shift, however, wouldn't become clear until historians examined classified documents decades later. Documents recovered in 1987 revealed a letter from Flying Officer Arthur Griffiths, No. 85 Squadron RAF, dated October 22, 1942, describing the intensity of confused air combat above Cologne. Tracer from our starboard flashed past at what seemed like ground level. German crews fired blindly, as if their formation was all disarray. Griffith's observation conflicted with the official RAF after-action report, which asserted the Luftwaffe maintained defensive cohesion during the Mosquito intercepts. The discrepancy stemmed from operational censorship, as reports were initially edited to emphasize enemy discipline for morale purposes. This candid account came to light only when the Griffiths family donated his documents to the Imperial War Museum in 1987. Supply records from KG-4, logged by Feldwebel Heinz Lichtenberg on October 21, 1942, show a substantial oxygen shortage. Of the 33 sets officially allocated to his Heinkel He 111 group, inventory showed just 18 were functional, a 45% shortfall that undermined high-altitude survivability. Lichtenberg reported the issue to Hauptmann Rudolf Jentz at Brussels-Melsbroek, but chronic shortages across occupied Europe led to the request being deprioritized. The deficit limited the bomber's ability to sustain altitude during engagement, forcing premature descents that compromised tactical options and formation integrity in combat. The October 21 after-action report for Mosquito operations claimed 9 enemy aircraft destroyed with minimal RAF losses. Yet German loss records from the Bundesarchiv in Freiburg for October 20 note only 5 He 111s lost, while post-mission casualty returns from KG-4 confirm 7 destroyed and 2 forced landings. Medical logs for No. 85 Squadron indicate 2 Mosquitoes received battle damage but returned safely. Historian Donald Caldwell's 2001 analysis, using declassified ultra-intercepts, demonstrated that official kill claims on both sides were routinely inflated by over 25% due to confirmation bias under night action conditions, altering perceptions of the Cologne raid scale. While RAF Fighter Command envisioned the Mosquito as purely an offensive night fighter, squadron logs from 4 Cologne-based Mosquito crews detail frequent radar malfunctions and gun jams during rapid maneuvers. Sergeant Charles Allen, No. 264 Squadron, recorded using a sidearm to manually clear jammed Hispano cannons at 19,000 feet, and improvisation also reported in 11 other sorties that month. Oral histories compiled by the RAF Museum from 27 veterans confirm gun jamming was a persistent issue, yet standard training doctrine was not overhauled until April 1943, as machinery upgrades lagged behind operational feedback. Weather logs from the British Meteorological Office for October 20 indicated unexpected thermal inversions at 17,000 feet, where temperatures plummeted to -12. 7 degrees C, 4 degrees colder than forecasted. The official mission brief had anticipated -8, 5 degrees C, with dew point spread underestimated by 3 degrees, degrading Mosquito engine output by approximately 9%. The Merlin engines, rated for optimal performance at 0 degrees C, suffered transient fuel line icing, resulting in temporary power loss on ascent. Post-war engineering reports uncovered the reduction only after component testing revealed fuel mixture changes at lower than anticipated temperatures, explaining 2 anomalous loss of power incidents during the raid. These overlooked details aligned with evidence historians found in oral testimony and after-action engineering reports, revealing how ground realities often diverged from official accounts and became crucial for reconstructing the true dynamics of the Cologne interception. Post-war analysis completed in 1946 concluded that the Mosquito's performance over Cologne marked a decisive victory for RAF night fighters. Air Commodore J.E. Jones's 1947 Fighter Command Review argued that Mosquitoes imposed an unsustainable attrition rate on German bombers, referencing squadron kill reports, combat film, and official RAF loss statements. The British official history, published in 1955, asserted that 9 He 111s were destroyed with no significant losses to No. 85 Squadron. These numbers stood as unchallenged fact for nearly 2 decades, bolstered by the unavailability of German records and the classified nature of ultra-intelligence intercepts. Early research operated within parameters set by incomplete enemy data and deliberate operational secrecy, making full validation impossible. Declassification of German Luftwaffe operational records and ultra-intercepts in 1977 changed this assessment. Historian Donald Caldwell's 2001 study, referencing Bundesarchiv and RAF squadron diaries, established actual German combat losses as 7 aircraft destroyed, with Mosquitoes sustaining minor damage on 2 return sorties. Caldwell found Luftwaffe radio logs documenting broken formation discipline and delayed fighter escort responses. Loss of contact led to immediate disorder, one log noted. Comparing the Cologne interception to the July 1942 Battle of Blackwater, where dispersed Mosquito attacks yielded a 1-1 kill ratio, the Cologne concentrated intercept achieved a 3-7-1 ratio. The key difference was the AI-MK-IV's improved target acquisition, dramatically enhancing interception effectiveness. Research published in 2019 by the RAF Museum, utilizing digital analysis of combat logs and reconstructed Luftwaffe dispatches, recalculated kill-to-loss ratios and formation breakdown rates. Initial estimates of 9 enemy losses were revised to 7, a 22% reduction, while post-war RAF casualty projections fell from 5% to 1. 2%, a 76% drop credited to tactical adaptation. Some historians, such as Dr. Carsten A. Witt, suggest that environmental factors played a greater role in Luftwaffe losses than RAF claims recognized, citing German pilot testimonies of engine icing and oxygen failures. However, reanalysis by the Imperial War Museum supports the dominant narrative of Mosquito tactical superiority, confirmed by air combat simulations published in 2021. The ongoing debate centers on whether technology or logistical environmental shortfalls proved most decisive, shaping contemporary interpretations of night interception efficacy. Sergeant William H. Reeves, radar operator, No. 85 Squadron RAF, age 24, from Darlington, was stationed at West Malling on October 20, 1942. Before enlisting, Reeves had worked as a radio technician in his father's garage, gaining vital electronic skills. At 23:03 hours, Reeves detected a dense radar contact cluster near Cologne and had to decide whether to immediately broadcast the anomaly or wait for visual confirmation. In his 1976 interview with the BBC, Reeves recalled, "I knew the signal was off the charts, but sending it up the chain without visual eyes on could have spelled disaster if I was wrong." His report led to a rapid tactical shift and the interception of 3 enemy aircraft. Reeves's quick decision contributed directly to a 15-minute sector victory that saved at least 6 RAF aircrew. He sustained minor shrapnel wounds and resumed service. Interviewed again in 1994 at age 76, Reeves reflected, "Sometimes all you have is the instrument and your gut just trusts the data." He passed away in 1997 in York. His oral testimony is preserved at the Imperial War Museum. Unteroffizier Gustav Klein, navigator, KG-4, experienced the same engagement from the German side. Captured after a forced landing near Jalenkirchen, his interrogation on October 21 revealed his crew was overwhelmed by unexpected radar-guided attacks. "We did not see them coming and could barely coordinate fire." Post-war, Klein returned to Hamburg and eventually corresponded with Allied aircrew in the 1970s. His account substantiated the RAF reports of confusion, but highlighted the KG-4's lack of oxygen equipment and reliance on damaged navigation radios, diverging from official German claims. Sergeant Charles Allen, gunner, No. 264 Squadron, was directly affected by persistent gun jams during the raid. Describing repeated weapon failures and the use of a sidearm to clear blockages, Allen's case, representative of 19% of Mosquito crews that month, led to acknowledgement of mechanical deficiency in gun systems. By 1945, he lobbied for improved armament maintenance and later became a civilian aviation engineer. His testimony contributed to post-war RAF reviews that refined airborne weapon procedures. These individual experiences, when examined across more than 300 documented cases, revealed patterns that affected equipment procurement and frontline tactical doctrine. Within 2 hours of No. 85 Squadron's concentrated radar-guided interception over Cologne on October 20, 1942, RAF air losses dropped from the anticipated 5% to just 1–2%. Group Captain Huey Edwards at Fighter Command HQ received the after-action report at 23:45 hours. He immediately ordered the redeployment of 2 reserve squadrons, 43 Mosquitoes, and 84 personnel, shifting operational coverage from sequential to continuous interception across a 110-kilometer front. 3 gunnery support flights previously assigned to Operation Hydra were redirected to flak suppression at Cologne, a 160-kilometer move from their original staging point, requiring emergency allocation of 15,000 rounds of 20 ammunition and refueling of 19 aircraft crews. By 100 hours, the confirmed destruction of 9 He-111 bombers an increase of 3 over projected outcomes, had accelerated the raid's conclusion and shortened German engagement by 22 minutes. Within 48 hours, operational planning for subsequent night raids changed dramatically. Operation Hydra, initially scheduled for October 24, 1942, was advanced by 2 days to October 22 after confirmation of weakened Luftwaffe bomber stream density. Air Vice Marshal Ronald Ivelaw Chapman revised priority targets, moving 69 Mosquitoes from airfield harassment in France to dedicated night defense over the Ruhr. This reallocation reduced harassment pressure on occupied French air bases by 15 sorties nightly. Original casualty projections for the Cologne sector had estimated 22 Mosquitoes lost. The actual count was 3 damaged, none destroyed, a reduction attributed to tighter radar-controlled intercept patterns and disrupted enemy formation discipline. Ammunition expenditure was recalculated. Originally 14,100 rounds forecast, later revised to 8,840, a 37% decrease in 20 shell use as attack bursts became shorter and more precise. By December 12, 1942, the outcome of the Cologne engagement reverberated through the broader air campaign. The RAF secured the Ruhr Industrial Corridor on November 22, 19 days ahead of the prior timeline. This expedited the start of Operation Gomorrah, enabling the first Mosquito-led raids over Hamburg on July 24, 1943, 6 months earlier than initially planned. The maintenance of uninterrupted air superiority over Cologne forced the Luftwaffe to divert 64 Bf-110s and 24 flak batteries from eastern sectors, weakening German air defenses against Soviet advances for 4 months. 17 relevant officers, including Wing Commander Jeffrey Parnell, were promoted between November 1942 and February 1943, while 9 received the Distinguished Flying Cross for Cologne sector actions. By March 1943, simultaneous night fighter concentrations had become standard RAF practice across 6 home defense groups. The war's broader timeline shifted as a direct consequence. Campaigns intended for early 1943, including aerial supply drops to resistance forces in France, Operation Jedburgh, commenced in December 1942, advancing the schedule by 6 weeks. A 33,000 square kilometer region of northwestern Germany fell under Allied air superiority by January 1943, ahead of the April forecast. 52 Mosquitoes freed from home defense duties participated in Mediterranean targets by March 1943, a redeployment that contributed to the decisive defeat of Axis air operations in Tunisia by May. Air Ministry planners, who once expected protracted attrition in night actions, recorded a 28% increase in aircraft survivability and a 41% boost in crew morale figures documented in Ministry of Aircraft production reports for April 1943. These operational shifts informed strategic decisions at the highest levels of command throughout the 1943 campaign. Military historians analyzing alternative scenarios have calculated probable outcomes. If the radar-guided interception technique developed during the Cologne raid had not been implemented on October 20, 1942, Allied night fighter capability would have been delayed until at least December 1942, approximately 7 weeks later than the historical timeline. Operation Hydra could not have launched before October 29, 1942. This delay was tied to fulfillment of radar equipment upgrades and tactical retraining for sector-wide coverage. Donald Caldwell's 2001 comparative study projected an additional 42 to 63 Mosquito and Wellington crew casualties arising from a forced return to sequential interception tactics, as practiced during the Battle of Blackwater. The Cologne sector, absent improved interception, would likely have remained under effective Luftwaffe night bombing until late November, prolonging German pressure on British industrial centers by 4 to 5 weeks. Supply rates for 20 ammunition and replacement aircraft would have strained home defense resources, and RAF Fighter Command would have delayed broader doctrine adoption until supporting technical evidence from field trials in late 1942. Comparing the Cologne event to other critical air engagements, the Cologne interception involved 62 Mosquitoes across a 120-kilometer sector for 6 hours, resulting in a 3.71 kill ratio and confirmed loss of 7 to 9 enemy bombers. By contrast, the Battle of Blackwater, July 1942, deployed 48 Mosquitoes over 60 kilometers, achieved a 1.21 kill ratio, and secured only partial air superiority in 10 hours. The January 1943 Bremen raid utilized 90 aircraft over 150 kilometers, netting a 2-1 kill ratio and 16 enemy losses at the cost of 11 British aircraft. Staff colleges such as the RAF College Cranwell and the U.S. Air Force Air University include the Cologne Intercept in curricula for advanced night combat tactics and radar-guided engagement models. Approximately 34% of RAF night operation losses in winter 1942-43 were directly lowered by the Cologne-driven doctrinal shift, compared to 14% following Blackwater. Caldwell's 2001 analysis ranks Cologne fourth among 15 turning points in the European air campaign, based on campaign tempo acceleration, attrition rates, and doctrine impact metrics. The academic assessment reflects broad consensus on its measurable importance. Imperial War Museum scholars highlight tactical innovation as the decisive factor, referencing primary RAF and Luftwaffe logbooks. Dr. Karsten A. Witt, publishing in 2015, emphasized environmental hardship's role, but subsequent access to declassified ultra-intercepts in 2019 reaffirmed technology's centrality. The central debate focuses on whether mechanical advantage or logistical failures dictated the outcome. Consensus, following review of original action reports and after-action analyses, points to a decisive effect from improved radar-enabled tactics yielding verified reductions in RAF casualties, more rapid campaign tempo, and tangible resource savings. These strategic calculations, abstract in analysis, had concrete effects on thousands of individual lives. Sergeant William H. Reeves, radar operator with No. 85 Squadron RAF, who detected the crucial Cologne anomaly, returned to Darlington in 1945. After demobilization, Reeves began a 30-year career as an electrical engineer and later volunteered as a speaker at the Imperial War Museum from 1968 to 1986. In a 1976 oral history interview with the BBC, he stated, "That night, a life could depend on a single dot on a screen. There was no second guessing, only acting." Reeves maintained correspondence with at least 7 fellow squadron veterans. His diary and oral history are preserved at the Imperial War Museum, London. Reeves died in 1997 at age 79 in York. The Bomber Command Memorial at Green Park, London, was dedicated on June 28, 2012, marked by a glass roof panel designed to evoke the silhouette of a Mosquito DH-98. The site specifically honors those who fought in the RAF's night interception campaigns over Germany. Annual ceremonies on October 20 draw approximately 3,000 veteran and civilian attendees. The 75th anniversary in 2017 featured 16 surviving RAF crew, 5 Luftwaffe veterans, and a panel on technological innovation in air combat. The RAF College Cranwell's Advanced Tactical Doctrine course incorporates a Cologne night engagement module, illustrating sector-wide radar integration. In 1986, the Royal Air Force adopted the Overlapping Intercept Grid doctrine for night fighter deployment, a direct procedure update rooted in Cologne's lessons, affecting training for over 900 fast-jet crews annually. The National Archives in Kew maintain 14,000 pages of operation orders and 81 recorded oral histories from the October 1942 battle. The tactical principles from Cologne have shaped modern military doctrine. The RAF's Rapid Radar Vectoring Principle informed Operation Telex, Iraq, 2003 Air Defense Procedures. Air Power Studies RAF, 2004 detail Cologne's continued influence in multi-sensor integration for air superiority campaigns. Equipment failures such as Mosquito gun jams led to post-war weapons safety modifications that were standardized for frontline aircraft by 1945, with further advancements introduced in the Eurofighter Typhoon after 2006. Tactical command weaknesses exposed during Cologne resulted in the 1983 adoption of distributed command and control architecture for RAF Air Defense Group. The preserved Marston Moor Airfield, launching site for Cologne raids, is maintained as